Hello, this is Jimmy Mitchell, and we're back for another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, where we look at the post on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit over the past day. So let's see what we have first. We have a post from u/Batom13, who posted, "Shocking, Ron Paul tightly associated with an attempt to set up a white supremacist nation state off Venezuela," from MNILive.com. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't really buy into this. They always try and slander Ron Paul. I wouldn't believe this, but uh, whatever you want to believe, I guess. It's called Operation Red Dog. Apparently, I don't know if I'd buy that too much, but we'll see. If you want to believe it, I guess you should be able to. I guess it says the guy who ran the Red Operation claimed that Governor Connolly and Ron Paul knew about it, but yeah, I don't. I personally won't believe that, but I guess believe whatever you want. You know. Let's see. What do we have next? We have dude saw a cop car and decided to give some thoughts for Reddit from the public freakout subreddit. I guess he's. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you wanna. Yeah, I don't think you. No, I'm personally very stay out of the way of the cops. Just don't try and get in their way like this guy's doing apparently. I would say I don't really care for the cops, but it's just better to stay out of their way than rather just rile them up and escalate tensions. I'm not really a guy who really likes to escalate tensions. I think we just need to let people be. I would say so. That's my fault on the post here. That was by Mov Hugging Inc. Let's see what we have next. Monster Liberty by Mov Hugging Inc. Liberty in quotes. It's a quote. It's a repost from the r/world news video subreddit. A concerned father speaks up against the hate group Monster Liberty school board meeting. One guy in the comments, Donald Key, called them the Ku Klux Clarence. And yeah, I personally don't really care too much about Ross for Liberty. I think they're kind of a more on the conservative side, but I do think if you do feel I do think you should be, if you want to stand up like they do for what your kids are learning at school. I think you should be able to. That's my thoughts on the matter. Next we have segregated classes, but it's okay because left is doing it. Expo/r/political compass memes. I posted that, and it's this in the Evanston, Illinois school district, in the Evanston Township, Illinois school district. They have codes say this code for the course is restricted to students who identify as black male students. This code for the course is restricted to students who identify as black. It's segregation's fine, but when segregation's horrible, but when left does it, calls it progressive for protecting BIPOC and LGBTQ, then they're gonna frame it as, oh, segregation's good. I did that post a while ago. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast. I don't think I did, but it's like how like it's all about framing and spin. Oh, segregation. You just can't say, oh, I want segregation. You have to frame it through the language of social justice. What you would say, we need spaces to protect BIPOC and LGBTQ from violence. That's what you'd say. You wouldn't say segregation. You'd use coded language, and that's what you see a lot these days. So next we have the drag brunch/story hour events where the queens gyrate and dance sexually in front of the children are basically the "I'm not touching you" version of kid diddling from Angela McArdle. And I personally, I posted that, and I would say I personally would agree with that. The thing is, if you want to think it's normal, that's I think okay. But if all the crazy naked dancers and near naked dancers, like that one in the UK that from a while ago, I think that's okay. If you don't think that's normal, that's fine. But you're not going to gaslight me into thinking that's normal, and that's important. That's important. You got to stand your ground sometimes with these progressives. They won't take they won't take any dissent whatsoever, and that's important to remember. I'd say a lot of the MAGA types won't take any dissent whatsoever as well, but for the progressives it's getting really bad, and I think that's important to remember as well. So that's why I think you got to stand your ground. You got to say, no, I disagree with you. You can demonize me all you want, but I will disagree, and I know you won't accept any dissent, so I don't really care what you say about me. Uh, let's see. Let's see. What's next? Next we have something I feel like you see a lot from the left on Reddit and Twitter and other social media from Wikipedia, and it's posted to the Wikipedia page for luxury beliefs. That's I think that's the luxury, and that's a term coined by social commentator Rob Henderson for research in sociology to describe the trend among affluent Americans to use their beliefs as a way to display their social status. And I said on the issue, I said this is why the biggest pushers of impulse tend to be from the upper or upper middle class, in my opinion. My hypothesis is that the wealthier someone is, the more likely the children are to be their children are to be transgender, non-binary, and easy way to show how progressive you are. Of course, the right is completely blamed Siri, as you can see from source links. I'll explain. That's a link from a Newsweek article. War. What's the title of that one? The war on woke is a luxury belief of the right. And I would say, yeah, that's why the more privileged you are, the more fighting you'll probably do in a culture war, because the culture war is a privilege game. Other people are wondering where their meals are coming from, wondering how they're going to get their next paycheck, wondering if they'll have shelter and stable housing and stable health care. That's why I'd say the culture war is very much, a privileged person's game. And, as I said, life's ultimately a game of who has the resources to care about what. And that's why I think the culture war is also very popular in social media, because it's a very easy way to get internet points for being for or against it. That's what people care about, social capital. And social capital is very caught up in the culture war, I would say, these days. So next we have how Texas lawmakers gutted civics from the $74 million for it by Flimsy Owl 5563, and it's from the 74.com. So let's see. A little noticed casualty in the culture wars is the Lone Star State has been training students for in American democracy. The thing is, I don't think too many people really care about American democracy. You have people saying, "Oh, the Senate's biased towards less populated states," even though that's what it's designed to do. So that's the thing. I don't think really anyone is that educated these days. They're more interested in, as I said, when it comes to schools, they're more interested in pushing an agenda than educating. They want you to believe the agenda, not think for yourself, and that's important because you got to think for yourself. So next we have Killer Mike. Free speech lets me know my enemy. From the Fire.org on YouTube by Skull Whisperer. And I would agree with that. Yeah, you gotta free speech for those we despise. You can't just censor everyone you disagree with. That's why I think you gotta have freedom of expression, even if it's risky, like threats or stuff like that. Yeah, so because you gotta support free speech. If and only if you have a job in the first place by Motherfucking Inc. is next, and it's a tweet from John Penson, Governor John. I like that when the stock market goes up, it means absolutely nothing for those who aren't rich, and when the stock market goes down, it means we lose our jobs. Yeah, that's life for you. It's capitalism isn't fun, but the all systems aren't fun. Humans, life is kind of inherently suffering. You always have to find a way to survive. So and survival isn't really easy. That's why I think, it can be hard to survive, and I agree with that. Next, we have be sure to get to know your local politicians from Mudhug, and it's a post from the Unexpected subreddit. And let's see. Yeah, it's. Let's see. This deep politician. This is. In August 2013, police found Morrison as Henry Christensen. Yeah, apparently he's kind of a red flag. All these politicians are kind of red flags. So I think everyone has a red flag personally these days. Especially with social media. The thing is, everyone has a red flag. It just depends. Everyone has skeletons in the closet. It just depends how well you hide them these days. That's what I would say. Everyone has probably something they don't want to share, and I think that's important to remember. And I don't think people should be forced to share as long as they keep it to themselves and um uh, and don't force it on other people without their consent. So that's my thoughts on the matter. The purge wouldn't even be interesting. In reality, we'd all hunker down while rich people insider trade a little more egregiously by motherfucking. I'd agree with that. That's from the Shower Fault subreddit, and yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, most people, most the purge actually happened. Most people would probably be too scared to do anything. So that's why I don't think you would see too much happen. Next, we have AI will not displace everywhere all at once. It will rapidly transform the labor market, exacerbating inequality, insecurity, and poverty. From it's another mug hugging one from ScottSantons.com. And I would agree with that. AI can be kind of scary. You have people generating images to slander political opponents. I just saw a picture on Reddit about Trump with a bunch of underage girls near him, and that was generated by AI. So you have that, and you also have people using AI to generate naked pictures of people without their consent, which I think is kind of concerning. But I think in the end, AI only lets you have the power. Only has the power you give it. As long as it's not self-aware yet, which hopefully that doesn't come too soon. Hopefully the Skynet scenario doesn't come too soon. But as long as it's not self-aware, you just gotta. I would say just ignore, just get caught up in. If you want to get caught up in the hype, I would do so. But I'm not really too on the AI hype train right now. It's just kind of like just another tool to manipulate narratives and such. So we'll see how that turns out. Breaking second largest bank failure in history from Breaking Points. And I posted that, and it was the first Republic bank failing, and that was Silicon Valley Bank was just the second largest bank failure. Now we have a new second largest bank failure, and of course Jim Cramer said to invest in it because of course he did. Jim Cramer is always saying, "Oh, invest in this company that's about to fail." So yeah, our bank system isn't too good. I would say the Federal Reserve is at fault mostly, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it looks like it was off there for a while after March, but now it looks like it might be coming back. We'll see what happens. We have Modi continues his tyranny. Government bans 14 messaging apps said to be leveraged by Pakistan linked terrorists from news abplive.com by Harumph. I would say yeah, Modi's kind of a tyrant. Uh, I like Modi more than a few other leaders like Xi Jinping and Putin, but probably not too many of them. We have America's bad bet on India, but from let's see, it's never her one. It's from it's an archive link of from foreignaffairs.com, and yeah, I don't. It says what does it say? New Delhi won't side with Washington against Beijing. I personally think if push comes to shove, they probably will, but yeah, I do think it's not as clear cut as some people want it to be. So that's what my thoughts on the issue. Next, we have renowned academic Noam Chomsky told the Wall Street Journal that his meetings with Jeffrey Epstein are none of your business. From Flimsy Al 5563. I like Chomsky on some stuff like free speech. I always like this quote: if we don't believe in free speech for those who we despise, we don't believe in it at all. But he can be a little suspect sometimes, and this is one of those instances. I would say. I also think the CIA guy who Epstein met with, that's kind of suspect as well as with the Goldman person, that was kind of suspect too. So it's kind of. I hear he might have been, might be, he was working with the CIA. I hear another guy saying, oh, he might have been with the Israeli version of the CIA and Mossad. We'll see what happens there. I don't think it's looking too good. I don't think anything near Epstein ever really looks too good. So yeah, hopefully we'll get the client list soon. Then we have court protects Redditors' rights to anonymous speech in piracy case from torrentfreak.com. I agree, Redditors should have the right to be anonymous if they want to. I think you should be anonymous if you want to on any platform. But, I think, that has benefits and drawbacks too. That's why I personally am pretty open about showing my face, because it's important to put yourself out there as well. And, I don't really have too much to lose, I would say. So that's why I'm doing this right now. But yeah, I do think you do have a right to anonymous speech. I agree with that. Then we have Rudy Giuliani explaining how he and Republicans suppressed the Hispanic vote by Chi-Town 20. And, yeah, it's from Political Revolution, and the top comment says illegals can't vote. It's just part of. Yeah, I think this is just kind of propaganda. A lot of things on Reddit are propaganda, but a lot of the subreddit is, of course, Republicans bad propaganda, but of course, they're always going to say the Republicans have voter suppression. Every time the Democrats lose an election, it's always going to be voter suppression. That's going to be one of their go-to blames. So that's always important to remember. What do you blame for when you lose the election? And the Democrats will always have voter suppression. That's kind of their go-to. Besides racism, sexism, and Russia, Russia, Russia. Then we have violent anti-libertarian Maj Tory Twitter account suspended by Ninja Lover. And yeah, I would say that makes sense. I'm a free speech absolutist, but Twitter has been clear that incitement to violence goes against their content policy, and it's suspending accounts throughout the political spectrum because of it. It probably steals from advertisers, which is why Reddit has a similar policy. I personally think I'm interested in if when he gets his account back. I think he has enough social capital. He had, I think, over 100,000 Twitter followers, so it shouldn't be too long. But I guess only time will tell. Then we have Saucon Valley must allow after school state and club to meet. Judge rules from WFMZ.com by Donald Key. And I would agree with that. I think if you have affinity groups, you should allow all types of them, including Satanists. But yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm all for free expression, and we should probably allow for as much free expression as possible without not being violated. Then we have hashtag boycott CNN trending. I'm surprised they have any viewers left for there to be a boycott at this point. That's from a tweet from Jimmy Mitchell. That's me, and I posted it. And yeah, I'd agree with that. It's personally, I said on the issue, I said they might as well just start showing porn. They'll face a bunch of FCC complaints, but they really don't have too much to lose at this point. CNN Plus failed in like 2 weeks. I don't think CNN's long for this world. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. They always seem to. There's an election coming up, so maybe they'll get some more views for that. We have seriously, are kids safe anywhere? Not a trans or drag person by Chi-Town, and yeah, Massachusetts Deputy Police John Porter has been indicted for raping a student when he was a school or resource officer. Yeah, I don't think our kids really are safe anywhere. I have to agree with Chi-Town on that one. A lot of scummy people out there. A lot of scummy people out there. Then we have Inconvenient Truth. 32 climate predictions proven false. Facts Matter. Facts Matter with Roman Balmakov on YouTube, and that was by Vertice. And yeah, I think I do think the climate stuff is overhyped. I think that's just kind of everyone's always been like the world is ending. It's like Michael Mouse had a good tweet today about catastrophizing, and how everyone's constantly fear mongering over this or that. We just gotta calm down. The sad truth is we're probably gonna be all right for the foreseeable future, and yeah, we're just gonna keep on until we do or inevitably run into something that we can't solve, which looked like it might have been COVID for a while, but now it looks like it's. We'll have to see what the next thing will be. Then we have Indiana Republican arrested for child pornography, not a trans or drag person, from dailycost.com, another Chi-Town post. And let's see. There we go. Yeah, I like to talk on. I might have missed it, but did you Muslim teachers get busted too, or just any registered Republican? And I said, they only do it when it fits the narrative, otherwise stuff like this. It was when they commented on the show that they have in Britain about, oh, these young teens are going to be exposed to naked people. He's like, oh, that's non-sexual nudity. So that's the thing. It's as I say, it's not very. It doesn't really matter what people do as very much who as very much as compared to who does it. Who does it. Like it's easy. Like that people always try and spin things based on the ideology of something of people who do things, and that's always important to remember. So we have a few more posts. Uh, Children working as chimney sweeps used to be normal. Hashtag Mayday 2023 from Chi-Town. And of course, I would, if children want to work as chimney sweeps, I think they should be able to. But yeah, I definitely think I'm glad we are kind of out of the chimney sweep era. Yeah, that's what being normal. I think everyone should normalize what they want to normalize, and as long as they don't violate the NAP, that might differ from person to person, but we'll see how that goes. Then we have Social Security and Medicare cuts are coming, whether politicians do it or not, from Reason.com by Ruin My Circle Jerk. And I'd agree with that. Those are not really to last, but we'll see how long they can squeeze it out. Yeah, they've been arguing this for a while, so I don't know how long. So I don't know how long they can squeeze it out, but we'll see. Yeah, and we have Both Sides by Chi-Town. It's a cross post from the political meme subreddit. I think, yeah, political memes. I said, uh, let's see. I said r slash Democrats and censor back again because got a lot of left wing circle jerk on here. Subreddits and censored. Also, gun safety laws, which is one of the things on the left, can be extended to whatever the government wants to extend them to, as can everything else listed. Governments are masters of broadly interpreting the definitions of words, and I think that's always important to remember. So we're almost done here. Pornhub no longer accessible in Utah by Donald Key, and I said on that the Republicans are being pushed pornography. Has to be one of the biggest problems with them. It's a fight they need to go on like marijuana. The numbers are too stacked against them for that one, I'd say. And yeah, I said I do think they have better. I'm personally pro-choice, but I do think they have better stuff when it comes to arguments when it comes to banning abortion and if minors consent to gender affirming care. And one guy said, "Oh, you're a mainstream Republican." And Chi-Town says, "Oh, you're a mainstream Republican." I said, "A mainstream Republican will want to reform the U.S. government. I know it is beyond that, and it needs to be dissolved. So that's why I wouldn't consider myself a mainstream Republican." So we're finishing up here. I think we got 3 or 4 more posts, and then we can get going. Apparently, Science Uncensored doesn't like when you contradict their narratives, and it was Chi-Town sharing their ban from Science Uncensored. Yeah, that's I think it's so funny when an uncensored subreddit bans people. That's why we did have a few bans. Libertarian censored one. I came on to not team by, removed them all from the ban list because I believe uncensored means uncensored. It's just, I'm a little hesitant over a new policy of accounts need to have 25 combined karma and be around for at least a week, 5 or so days. So that's why I'm not too bullish on that. But I guess we do have to prevent the subreddit from getting banned as well. Even though I don't think AHS is onto us too much yet, but we'll see what happens there. So we're almost done. Then we have Vice Media reportedly heading for bankruptcy from The Guardian. I linked a tweet from Sager and Jetty, 538, BuzzFeed News, Gawker, Vice. I think Fox is the last of the 2010s new media companies left. Hopefully they get next. And it might not be long because I just looked at the Wikipedia page and it says, oh, they were funded by SBF, and he's not in good shape right now, so we'll see how that goes. And then finally, we have just look at the smug smiles on these people who showed up first thing in the morning trying to disrupt Zoe's effort from doing her work today. Same smug smiles that have always opposed the progress of civil rights throughout the country. And of course, that's just another left wing circles work. I definitely think, Zoe's effort, I personally wouldn't have censored her. She did have a bit of a crazy rhetoric with the blood in her hands. And, that's just kind of can get annoying, but, you just can't censor them because they'll always try and spin it the left can always spin that very good, and it's important to remember that. And the left, they kind of control the narrative on social media, and that's why I think it's important to not let them win stuff like this, because this is, you gotta support free speech, and I think that's important. So anyway, I think that's gonna be it for today, and see you guys in the next episode.